Hey, listeners, it's Jenn. I hope you're enjoying season 5 of What Are You Listening To? This week, I'm back with a new installment of What Are You Listening To Time Capsule. WAYLT Time Capsule is just that. It's bits and pieces in the form of songs that are meant to evoke a certain time or place. I'm going to bring you a 4-song playlist like always, but time capsule episodes are not interview style. They're simply meant to create a vibe or mark an audio moment in time. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. As most of you listeners know, I'm based in Austin, Texas, and we're known for a few things around here: great live music, amazing festivals like South by Southwest and ACL Fest, the best breakfast tacos in the world, and insanely brutal summers. And for those of you that don't know, Austin has 4 seasons: grid killing freeze season, it's so hot I might die season, wait, how did it get hotter, and false fall. We are currently in my favorite of Austin's 4 seasons, false fall. This season is exactly what it sounds like: a 1 to 2 week period where temps drop to the low 80s during the day and low 60s at night. And for all of my friends up north, look, we take what we can get around here in terms of cooler temps. And when false fall happens, all you can do is break out your sweaters and hope that the temps stay mild. Another way I coax the cooler temps into being is to put my fall playlist on and pretend. So this week, I'm bringing you 4 songs that always get me ready for fall. Which songs made the cut? You're about to find out. And as you listen, if any of these songs are new to you, don't worry. We'll publish a playlist with the episode so you don't miss a beat. Here we go with the WAYLT time capsule designed to create my version of an audio rain dance in hopes of bringing on the cooler temps. Without further ado, here are my 4 classic picks to get you in an autumn state of mind. Well, listeners, this playlist starts where all good playlists do, with Fleetwood Mac. So, track number 1 that always gets me in the mindset for fall is Rhiannon by Fleetwood Mac from the Fleetwood Mac album released in 1975. So, Fleetwood Mac kind of in general feels like a fall band to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I love listening to them when it's raining outside or sitting by the fireplace. Really, I love listening to Fleetwood Mac anytime. But you know how some bands are sort of intrinsically summer, like Van Halen to me is a summer band. Fleetwood Mac to me is like a fall band. So I think that even though this song doesn't directly reference fall or wintertime, I think just sort of like the witchy nighttime vibes are what bring me there for this song. And there are Fleetwood Mac songs that maybe sound more fall appropriate, Landslide or Warm Ways, but Rhiannon is really it for me. And for those of you that know sort of what the song is based on, it's loosely based on some folklore about a Welsh goddess. And if you know anything about Stevie Nicks, you know that she's a little bit witchy herself. And she also wrote this song in autumn of 1974. So I don't know if it's because I know those 2 pieces of information that this is the song I glom onto for fall, but either way, this song just puts me in the fall mood. Now, to get back to a little bit of that folklore, for those of you that don't know, Rhiannon was said to be the goddess of steeds and the maker of birds. So the legend goes that in times of war, you'd hear Rhiannon's 3 birds sing, and then you'd see her riding up on a horse. And when she came, you'd fall into a deep sleep. And when you woke up, sometimes just moments later, the danger would be gone, and you'd hear a song and see her 3 birds flying away. So I love that imagery. I love thinking about that in conjunction with the song in hopes that cooler temps are coming. Maybe that's what Rhiannon, maybe when we see her riding in on her horse and the grackles fly away. Grackles are sort of the unofficial city bird of Austin, also, for those of you that don't know, another very Austin reference. But perhaps that will be our tip off that cooler temps are really on the way. I think another cool thing about this song and why I associate it with fall or, the changing of the seasons or changing colors of leaves, things like that, sort of renewal and rebirth is this song was on the first album that Fleetwood Mac did with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. And so, Fleetwood Mac was a band that was around. They were a lot more like jazzy, bluesy. And then when Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks joined the band, they sort of became the incarnation of Fleetwood Mac that most of us know and love these days. So this album definitely represents a new beginning for the band that would eventually just become a worldwide sensation. And for me, fall is a time to slow down and think about how you want to end the year and sort of like a gearing up for new beginnings that will come in January. So I think that again, this song represents that for me as well, sort of this growth and change period that I think happens a lot in the fall season. And if none of this is resonating, you know what? Just enjoy the Fleetwood Mac. In my opinion, all good playlists need at least one Fleetwood Mac song. Next up, I took a little bit more of a literal approach and went with a song called Sweater Weather by The Neighbourhood from the I Love You album, which they released in 2013. So, as I mentioned just in the intro there, if Rhiannon is a thinly veiled reference to fall, then this is an overt one. I love this band. This was their first song and the song that introduced the world to them, really. And it's got a cool creation story about how the lead singer and I believe the guitarist, they were just kind of neighborhood friends growing up in California, decided to write a song together, and Sweater Weather came out. And they were like, this isn't half bad. And that's how the Neighborhood was formed. And I'm really glad that they were. I know that this band has had some ups and downs. We're not sure if they're going to come back. Their last album was in 2020. They had some issues with their drummer. And so we'll see. We'll see if they return in a different form or the same, but I sure hope they do. I just really think they're creative. Lyrically, I love what they do with all of their songs, not just this one. But while we're talking about fall and why this song features on this playlist, I love how this song talks about the warmth of a sweater and the cold weather outside, right? It just sets you up for the whole song to be this juxtaposition that carries throughout all of their lyrics. So he talks about high-waisted shorts. I hate the beach, but I stand in California with my toes in the sand. Head in the clouds, but my gravity centered. So it just goes on with these really cool phrases that are really a dichotomy, kind of two parts of the same coin or two sides of the same coin. So I love this. If you really get into the lyrics of this song, I think they're so smart. You kind of look at these guys and think like, oh, another band from Southern California. But they've got a lot going on. And I think that their sound has definitely evolved since this 2013 release. But I've really loved it every step of the way. I mentioned their last album was in 2020. It's called Chip Chrome and the Monotones. Fully delivers. I think one of our final episodes of season 4, I featured one of their songs called Devil's Advocate that's still a favorite of mine. So definitely let this be your invitation to jump into the Neighborhood if you never have. I think that you will dig, hopefully, their whole catalog. But if not, start with I Love You, that first album. If it's not for you, maybe skip all the way to Chip Chrome and the Monotones and see if that more evolved sound is what you like from the band. But I would be surprised if you didn't find something in there that you could glom onto and really enjoy. Next up, track 3 is Bloodletting, the vampire song by Concrete Blonde. And this is from the album of the same name, Bloodletting, released in 1990. So, in case I didn't give it away by announcing the title of the song, one of my favorite things about fall is Halloween. I love Halloween. Halloween is one of those polarizing holidays, though. You're either like a dress up person and you love it, or Halloween is your least favorite part of the year because you do not want to bother with the costume. You don't want to feel the pressure of getting it together. I am certainly the former in this category. I will go to any and all Halloween parties. So, any invitations out there that you want to send my way, I'm happy to join in. I love a costume party and I love Halloween. And so I feel like I could just like stop right there and you would know why this song is included, but that wouldn't be any fun. So we're going to go ahead and get into it with Bloodletting, the vampire song. Now, I love this song for a lot of reasons. I mean, just surface level, it's spooky, it's intentionally scary. It definitely evokes a certain feeling. And then when you kind of know the backstory about the lead singer who wrote the song, Jeanette Napolitano. I always say that wrong. She was going through kind of a difficult, dark time when she wrote this album. And, bloodletting was sort of this ancient practice of letting people bleed out a little bit to hopefully cure them of an illness. I say ancient practice. I don't think this still goes on anymore, but don't quote me on that. And so I like that idea too of like this is sometimes you literally have to like bleed to get something out of your system. And so I think that this song again, like on a surface level, sounds spooky. The title's spooky, the parenthetical of the vampire song around bloodletting, like it kind of gets you in the mood for what you're about to listen to. And then I think it really delivers kind of on a deeper level about this relationship that is just has nowhere to go. It's literally dead. um, and she's also stated that this, again, whole album was about a really sad point in her life. And she said that also this song was based on her love of the city of New Orleans and her enjoyment of Anne Rice's novel, The Vampire Lestat, which had just been released at the time. So again, you've got some underlying themes with her going through a really rough breakup and having a sad time and creating this album. And then the literal part of it, where she obviously is fascinated by vampires. She calls out the city of New Orleans, which is kind of spooky and prides themselves on, the spooky part of their heritage as well. And so I just think there's a lot going on. It tells the story of a doomed relationship. And I think we can all relate to the lyric, "You were a vampire and now I am nothing at all." A relationship that just sucks you dry. Like, oh, every time I think about that, I'm just like, wow, you can really tell she was in it. She had all the feels and she was not afraid to like put it all in this song. And I feel like you hear that. You hear it when she's singing, you hear it in the tone, you hear it in the musicality of the song. Like it just all works so well together. Another thing that I really appreciate about this song and why it prominently features on lots of fall playlists or Halloween playlists is that it sounds spooky from the very beginning. Like it's instantly recognizable. It's almost like a cooler thriller. Like you hear the spooky noises. It sounds like maybe there's some bats. Then there's the bass line, the drums kick in, sort of individually the instruments start piling on until you just have, this really amazing, big sounding, rich song. And I think too, like not many songs lean this hard into intentionally creating something scary. I think people like tiptoe around it. Like I said, I mentioned Thriller. That's one that comes to mind, but it's rare that you get something that's intentionally meant to sort of lean into to creating something macabre or horrifying. And I just love that about this song. It's like the song version of a scary movie. And so I think if this song doesn't get you in the mood for fall and Halloween, like I'm not sure what else to do for you. This is kind of the one. This is the one that sets the tone. And we're going to transition now to round out the playlist. I'm going to close with maybe the most fall song of them all from his 1992 album of the same name. It's Harvest Moon by Neil Young. Oh, this song is so simple and so beautiful. And by definition, the harvest moon is the full moon that occurs closest to the autumn equinox. So it's when the length of day and night are equal. It usually occurs in September, October. So again, hence it's featuring on this fall playlist. But this song sonically personifies that for me. It's totally balanced, like it's got this very moody feel. It's soft and calming, but still upbeat. It doesn't make you sad. It doesn't feel like you're drudging through the song. And so I've always loved that about this. And then it's also been said that he wrote it for his wife and wanted to convey the contentment that you feel from a long-term relationship. Another piece that I think makes sense for this song to be on the fall playlist, or another piece of information, is that Neil Young himself has also said that the moon is a really big deal for him. It shows up in 28 of his songs. Obviously, he has a giant catalog, but to show up in 28 songs, that seems like that's something that's probably pretty important to him. And he said that he really like uses the moon to guide him. Folks in the industry that have worked with him and know him say that Neil Young's more likely to take on a project if it coincides with the full moon. So I kind of like that the song has some lore behind it too, not just the fact that it's speaking of a harvest moon and it's singing of this like contented place. And it makes me want like a cup of hot tea and sitting by the fire, and feels very calming, like to know that Neil Young also has this sort of fascination with the moon, I think makes it even more appropriate for this playlist. And in a 2005 interview with Harp, Neil Young explained that before there was organized religion, there was the moon. He goes on to say, the Indians knew about the moon, pagans followed the moon. I've followed it for as long as I can remember, and that's just my religion. I'm not a practicing anything. I don't have a book that I have to read. It can be dangerous working in a full moon atmosphere because if there are things that are going to go wrong, they can really go wrong. But that's great, especially for rock and roll. Well, Neil, I couldn't have said it better myself. With that, that's it for my fall song time capsule. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope collectively we can listen to this playlist and coax the cooler temperatures into hanging around. As always, please be sure to follow, download, and share this show. And if you love listening, please drop a review on Apple or Spotify for us. We also love DMs, so don't forget to tell me what songs I forgot. What songs are on your fall playlist? What are you listening to as we head into the cooler temps? You can find us on Instagram at Super Awesome Mix, or you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Super Awesome Mix. Thanks for listening, and please join me again next week to find your new favorite song.